So this is it. The full season of Rugby League comes down to 80 minutes. Swinton Lions against the Keighley Cougars in the Kingston Press League One playoff final. Swinton led out by Richie Hawkyard, the captain. Some big team news this afternoon. No Mike Morrison for the Lions. He picked up a sternum injury in the Golden Point semi-final victory over Keighley. So it's a big loss for the Lions. I'll quickly run through the teams now. Swinton go with Hawkyard at fullback. On the right wing, Sean Robinson. In the centres, Littler and Rothwell. And on the left wing, Mike Butts. Scrum half this afternoon is Ben White. Standoff, Chris Atkin. In the props, making his final appearance of his career, Jordan James. And Ben Austin will also be in the props at hooker. Andy Ackers, one of the players of the season. In the second row, Andy Thornley and Rodri Lloyd. And at loose forward, Rob Lever. On the bench for the Lions this afternoon, Tommy Gallagher, also his last appearance of his career. Aaron Lloyd, Conor Dwyer and Josh Barlow. For Keighley, it's the last appearance we'll see from the March brothers, Paul and David. They're both in the starting lineup. Paul is at scrum half and David's at hooker. They made a change at fullback since the last time we saw them. Guzdek's now the fullback, replacing Sharif, and that's a bad start for the Cougars, knocking on off the kick-off. And Swinton will have an immediate opportunity to put some pressure on the Cougars line. Good start for the Lions this. They have beaten Keighley on all 4 occasions the two sides have met this season. But that counts for very little today. In the big games, the experience and the pressure, so crucial. Swinton having drawn experience from the cup final defeat, in which they just weren't kind of smart enough to beat the Crusaders. They'll be hoping that they can draw strength from that and come out on top this afternoon. Ackers out the back of the scrum. Hawkyard. Ackers is going to be crucial around the ruck area this afternoon. I think he's just a little bit quicker than the Keighley players in that area. Jordan James. Really good chances for Swinton, 8 from the post. Ackers goes left to Atkin. Atkin throws the dummy and tries to squeeze through a gap, but shut down by the Cougars defence. White. James straightening up, looking to get an offload, but can't be done. That's the 5th. Swinton going to move it across to the far side this time. White goes for a gap, he's through, but gets the ball away and Thornley's lost it over the line. Opportunity for the Lions, but Thornley couldn't hold on. If he could have just kept hold of that, the Lions would have been in front. Good play from White. And the chance goes begging. Missed opportunities at Blackpool cost us the game in the first half. So hope they won't live to regret it again as Law drives it up. Law's battles with Mike Morrison this season have been crucial in these matches. They've gone head to head, toe to toe. But no Mike Morrison today. I wonder if that'll give Law a little bit more threat, a little bit more menace. Of course, playing on the artificial pitch, which opens up opportunities for kicking from deep. The ball we've seen in the warm-up game between the two amateur sides, the ball does run on. So 40-20s are certainly an option this afternoon. Not much wind around as March comes away from the ruck area and gets his team up towards halfway. On the 5th. Drilled down the middle by Hamforth. Robinson's watchful and retrieves the ball and looks to return as quickly as possible, but he's well met. It's good chase that from the Keighley Cougars. But he's lost the ball, but it's a penalty for Swinton as Butt was looking to play it. Keighley interfering, and Swinton have an opportunity to get into the Keighley half with a cheap penalty. A couple of errors early on from Keighley there, knocking off from the kick-off, and then a cheap penalty given away, giving Swinton the front foot. Halton Stadium bathed in sunshine, apart from that third of the pitch on the far side in the shadow of the stand. And it's Swinton attacking in the shadows. White, Atkin throws the dummy for Lloyd, who wasn't happy. He wanted the pass there, Rodri Lloyd. Atkin kept hold of it. White, Lloyd gets it this time and angles inside. He's tackled by Law. Around the shoulder, says the referee. One or two oohs and ahs in the crowd. Ackers from acting half. getting that cheap 10 yards onto the 5th tackle. Hawkyard at the play the ball this time. Swinton going to go through hands narrow. White onto Lloyd. Can't break the tackle, and that's the turnover. And Swinton turnover possession high up the field. Good opening this for the Lions. Good opening spell. As Lawton looks to bring it away. Law, well met. Good tackling from Ben Austin, one of the young forwards. Big job on his shoulders this afternoon with no Mike Morrison. Fifth tackle, Keighley just still inside their own half. They're looking to test Swinton with a high hanging kick. Safely fielded by Hawkyard, who sets off with the ball in one hand. Looks to break through but can't get through there. Scott Law getting through a lot of work early on for Keighley. Robinson. Swinton's outside backs just relieving the pressure on the forwards but not making much headway at the moment as Robinson looks to play the ball. Jordan James straightens up and good leg driving a tackle from James. Terrific stuff from the experienced Welshman and his last appearance. Lever, one of the youngsters. He's through, he's got an offload to Austin, who looks around for support and finds Atkin, and Atkin's over. Swinton are in for the opening try of the playoff final. It all came from Rob Lever, I should say. The young prop forward from Wigan, who's made a real name for himself this season, and he broke the tackle, he found a way through, and when Austin needed support, Atkin was there, and Swinton are in, and Swinton take the lead. It's the Lions 4, Keighley 0. Terrific opening this for Swinton in the first 5 minutes. Rob Lever. John Duffy said he's hoping to keep hold of him for next year, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of clubs at Championship level and perhaps Super League level as well with one eye on him. As Atkin looks to add the extras in front of the Keighley fans. Terrific start for the Lions. You just wonder if the 4 previous results between the sides are going to play any part in the psychology now for Keighley. Having lost 4 times to the Lions and now falling behind, you just wonder how that's going to affect them. Atkin with a low kick, but it's good. And Swinton's lead is extended to 6 points. It's been a perfect start for the Lions. Keighley slow out of the traps. They've not managed to get out of their own half, really. And the Swinton fans behind that goal as the players go back to line up, roaring the team on, as they have done all season. Lawton with the kick, it's a high one, just in the shade there. Swinton looking hungry, looking to add to that early try. Hawkyard, just evasive, dances out of a couple before being brought down on the far side. Lever again, the danger man. Set up that try by bursting through. Austin. Ackers to Atkin, just inside the 40. But the ball just checks on the rubber crumb that's on the pitch. Not a bad chase from Ackers. And Keighley will start 30 from their own posts. Gabriel, elusive, quick winger. They've got 2 very, very quick wingers, Keighley, Gabriel and White. 2 of the top scorers in the league. Here is White. First chance for him to carry the ball, but Swinton are up quickly and smartly before he can get moving. Good offload from March. And it's Keighley's turn to break through. Goodsdeck. But just about does enough. Just about gets a hand on the fullback. Well, Swinton's turn to do some defending now. And that's a great tackle from Ben White. 5th tackle. We're going to see it's a low kick from Handforth, which Hawkyard fields safely, and he's got the ball in one hand, ducks under a tackle before being brought down just in front of the sticks. Littler, experienced, he's played in these games before. Austin again, getting through a lot of work early on, the young forward. Atkins inside his own 40 again with the kick, but he's not got as much distance on it as he would have liked. Just bobbles awkwardly in the Keighley man with a slight slip. Comes up with the ball safely. Ricky Sharif, one of the brothers. We've seen Jesse Sharif playing at fullback usually for Keighley, but he's lost his place in the side for this afternoon's game as March comes away from the play the ball and Ackers grabs his collar. March loses the ball in the tackle, but it's been ripped out by Ben Austin. And Keighley have a penalty and a chance for them to put some real pressure on the Swinton line. March, he's so good, got good hands, good for an offload, and Swinton were wary of that. And Austin just ripping the ball out of a tackle, but the penalty kick's not the best. Rawlins in his 200th appearance for Keighley. March. Just a slight stutter as the Swinton line moved up quickly. Good defence from the Lions, no offload. Swinton just in front of their own posts. Handforth back inside to Law. He's got a run at the line, Law, and he's over. The ball bobbles loose, but he's confident that he's grounded. The referee agrees, and Keighley look as though they're going to level. It opened up for Scott Law, and when he gets moving in front of the post like that, he's difficult to stop. And Keighley with the kick to come have a chance to level it. Swinton penalised for ripping out him a tackle, and Keighley have made them pay. Swinton 6, Keighley 4, and you'd expect Lawton to knock over the extras from that range. And it's the Keighley fans to our left who are celebrating now. The Swinton regroup in front of their own supporters. So Lawton, it'll be who looks to add the extras. Safely between the posts. It's a level game. It's Swinton 6, Keighley 6. Well, Scott Law, I identified him as a threat. He's a strong runner, hard worker. I seem to remember earlier in the season he played at least 40 minutes unchanged. He's got a magnificent beard as well. Credit to him for growing that. It'll be Atkin who gets us back underway. With a high kick just spiralling in the air. As March knocks over Littler. They'll have enjoyed that one. Jordan James just goes down awkwardly. Law, the try scorer. Lindsay driven back by a posse of Swinton tacklers. Law again, just not enough space for him to get up speed there. Swinton line moving up quickly that time to shut down his options. Delayed pass and Swinton are in trouble again here on this near side. Butts back pedalling, Atkins coming across to help him. Gabriel checks back inside. There's no support, that's the fifth, and Keighley looking the stronger side at the moment. Handforth, he's going to chip to the far side where Littler's back pedalling. And Robinson, oh, he almost gathers it. If he could have taken that, Robinson may have had a chance. As it is, it'll be a scrum with a Keighley put in. And Chris Rothwell looks as though he may have picked up a knock in amongst all that as well. Just had his hands on his knees there and he's about to receive some treatment. He's dropping to his knees now, Chris Rothwell, so that's a bad sign for the Lions. The referee just stopping the clock while Rothwell gets some treatment. Thumbs up is given. He needs to recover quickly because Swinton are on the back foot. Keighley have recovered well from conceding the early try. Handforth, the real dictator of this Keighley team, moves them around the field so well. It's Lawton at the play the ball this time. I think Law wants another burst at it. He runs into Ackers, but Keighley in a really good position now. Central march. Handforth. Hard slog this for the Lions as March looks to steal a march in front of the post, but he's well met there. Good defending that from Rob Lever. Handforth, flat ball to Law, and Law's over again. It's the second try of the afternoon for Scott Law. The Keighley players celebrate. The referee consults with the in-goal judges. But a try is given, and Scott Law has two, and Keighley have the lead. Belief suddenly flowing through this Keighley side. And Swinton need to regroup quickly because since scoring the try they've not been in the game at all. That try coming after Robinson failed to hold the high kick. He was under pressure. I think he had one eye on the try line at the other end, but he didn't make it safe. And from the attack, Keighley were able to go over as Law found space again. Swinton are going to have to shut that down. Lawton again isn't going to miss from there. And Keighley now lead by 12 points to 6. Swinton need that sizable support behind the goal to urge them on. Atkin just delaying the kick. Robinson had run ahead early, so we had to wait for Robinson to get back. Safely fielded by Guzdeck, the fullback. Slight fumble at the play the ball. The referee happy that it's not a knock-on. The March brothers just running the game at the moment. Keighley Pack getting on top. Here's Law again. Again, not closed down quickly enough, given 10 yards to run in. That's the fifth. Swinton don't want to do anything silly and give away a penalty. We expect a deep kick here. Stab down the middle. Splitting winger and fullback. That's a good kick, but it may just bobble on a bit far. Hawkhead has to field it. Couldn't be sure that it would go dead. Swinton regaining possession in front of their own posts again. It's a long way to the opposite end of the field from here. But with the play the ball. Lloyd. Good running from the Swinton forwards there. Got Swinton up to halfway. White's in a position to kick, but it's not the best kick. White's able to come in off the wing and return it. Both sides with terrific ball returners. Robinson and Hawkguard in particular for Swinton, two of the quickest, strongest runners. And Gabriel and White for Keighley, absolutely rapid. One or two complaints from the Keighley fans, but I'm not quite sure what they're arguing about there. Nothing wrong with that. Rawlins slammed down onto his back. Better set that for Swinton. Keighley not making the same gains. The kick down the middle. Splits winger and fullback again. The distance judged well. Hawkyard has to field it in the in-goal area. Keighley's kicking game putting them on top in this match. Swinton weathering a lot of pressure. Can they get something out behind the ruck area, as they got a cheap penalty anyway? Sharif penalised for leaving his foot in. So Littler with the tap. It's Thornley with the first drive of the set. Gets Swinton up just up to halfway there. Ackers at the play the ball. Atkin, bit of space for Rodri Lloyd. He's looking outside, Butt's there. Lloyd's got space to run into. He finds Butt. Has he got enough room in the corner? It's a terrific attempt at a tackle, but Butt goes over. He just about had enough strength. Lloyd delayed the pass to perfection, and Butt did well to stay in field. It was a good attempt to take him out into touch by Guzdek, the fullback, but Butt just about got there, and Swinton are back in the game. It's Keighley 12, Swinton 10. Rodri Lloyd finding the space. It was a good move from the Lions from halfway. Good hands from Atkin. And Butt was in support. He just about had enough room. He did well, showed good strength to stay in field actually, under pressure from Guzdek. And Atkin with the difficult task of converting from the touchline down in front of us. Goal kicking in these tight games, so important. We saw it last week against York, who missed 3 kickable chances, which cost them the game ultimately. Keighley fans behind the goal just attempting to put Atkin off, and it's way across the front of goal. So Keighley's lead is intact, just about. Swinton 10, Keighley 12. But more positive that from the Lions. They look a threat when they move the ball to the fringes. A little bit more pace in the centres, I think. Keighley threatening down the middle. Swinton on the fringes, looking more dangerous. White. Austin, good burst that from Austin, good running. Well, Jordan James it was, sorry, giving the credit to the wrong man there. Here it is, Austin. Keighley's line just a bit unsettled there after they had 3 men in the tackle, and Ackers exploiting the space behind the ruck as he has done all season. Lever bursts through the middle again. He's got support through White. Here's White, and White's going to go over. Rob Lever punches another hole down the middle, and it's easy for White to finish, and Swinton's lead is restored. Rob Lever, the star of the show so far, 2 try creating bursts down the middle. The Keighley defence can't handle him, and Swinton's lead is restored through Ben White. But that was all about Rob Lever. His power down the middle, burst through the tackles. Not quite sure what Richie Hawkyard's saying to the officials in the aftermath of that, but we'll not worry too much because Swinton have regained the lead. What a terrific match we've got on our hands already. Midway through the first half, and we've seen 5 tries. So Atkin in front of the post, in front of the Keighley fans, dinks the kick over. Swinton 16, Keighley 12. in the cup final, the playoff final I should say. As we see changes from Keighley, Law going off there. Samir Tarui I think coming on, he's a big powerful man with a fiery temper. And the long hair. Don't think Swinton made any changes while Atkin was taking the kick. Keighley obviously feeling that they need to mix things up in the pack in the middle where Lever's been punching holes, and Tarui's first involvement is in the tackle there. Littler, the old stager. The referee shouts held him and Littler's fell. That should be a penalty for Swinton. Acker's exploiting space behind the ruck again. On the fourth. Atkin shows inside but then goes outside to Rodri Lloyd, and that's the fifth tackle. Atkin drills one towards the corner, it sits up nicely and Guzdeck can come away. It's not a bad chase from the Lions, and Keighley's turn to begin their possession in front of their own post with Tarui. Good drive in the tackle, he's a big man. Thornley in danger of giving away a penalty there. Swinton have got to be careful on the offsides as well. The referee just issuing warnings. Good tackling from James, just sticks the shoulder in. Lindsay, well met on halfway. Good set from the Lions again, good tackling. The line up quickly, and Keighley kicking from halfway with Handforth. Down the middle again. Again, a well-judged kick, which Robinson has to backtrack and retrieve. He sets off with an angled run at speed. Can't find a way through, and he's brought down just in front of his own posts. Hawkyard, good running from the captain. Well, but driven back. Losing some of the 10 metres that he had gained. Josh Barlow's first carry of the game. Swinton need a better kick this time. Littler, or Thornley I think it is, kicking. It's not a bad kick actually. If the bounce is good, it spins back, stays in field. And Rothwell and Lloyd combine to complete the tackle eventually. Swinton just not quite getting the same distance on the kicking game. Keighley turning the outside backs of the Lions, having to pick it up right in front of the sticks. Swinton not quite controlling the kicking game just yet. Feathers on at hooker now for Keighley. Surprised he didn't start the game actually, he's a big player for them. Here is Feather behind the ruck, brought down by Gallagher, and it's picked up by Jordan James. And the referee penalising Swinton for not being square. I wonder if Keighley are going to have a kick at goal there. It's a tight game. Nope, Feather just going to tap it. Tarui and Barlow, I think that could be an interesting clash this afternoon. Two very fiery characters, passionate players. March looking to manoeuvre his side, get one of the forwards running at the Swinton defence again. That's where they've had the joy, from short range. Lions back in their own line, real test of the defence. Handforth, flat ball, and it's easy enough. Simple try again for Keighley. This time it's Lynham who goes over. Neither defence covering themselves in glory, and Keighley level. And this topsy-turvy game continues. Well, we've seen it, we've had warnings with Law doing it twice, and that time it's Lynham. It's a simple pass, a simple move, and a simple finish from close range. Swinton's sliding defence not good enough on that occasion. As Conor Dwyer just comes on I think Andy Ackers going off on the far side. Aaron Lloyd will replace Ackers at hooker. Lawton, well, he's missed. He's missed an absolute sitter. He puts his hand to his head and wonders what he's done. So the scores are level, 16 apiece. Bad miss that from Lawton. He's a good goal kicker. You'd have expected him to knock it over, but the pressure of the playoff final just getting to him there. So both sides have made changes now. Aaron Lloyd on at hooker for Ackers. Josh Barlow's come on, Tommy Gallagher's come on, and Conor Dwyer's come on. So all the changes made for the Lions. There is Aaron Lloyd in the tackle. Tarui runs into Dwyer, but good drive in the tackle. He's looking for an offload as well. Barlow shuts that option down. Keighley forwards are on top at the moment. Barlow trying not to give away a penalty. Offload by Feather. Atkins quick to react and wrap up man and ball. Did the ball go loose? Well, it did, but it was ripped out by a Swinton man according to the referee. Chris Atkin isn't happy with the decision. He's picked up a knock as well there, Chris Atkin. So worrying times for the Lions. Don't really have a change of player for Atkin if he did pick up a knock. Looks as though he's got a bloodied nose. Stick a bit of cotton wool up there, he'll be alright. Get on with the game. In the meantime, Keighley have a penalty. I don't think they're going to kick for goal from that range. Particularly after missing the last attempt. So they're going to bang it into touch and look to attack this Swinton line. Swinton's defence has looked soft in the first half. Feather with a tap. Bailey with the first drive, met by three Swinton tacklers. Atkin among them. Hanforth pops it off to Tarui. Barlow misses the tackle. And Tarui driving towards the line. Swinton under pressure. March spins it wide to Sharif, who's running out of space. Swinton looking to take him into touch, and they manage it. The flag goes up on the far side, and that's good tackling from the Lions, and you can see how much it means. Pats on the back all round. Sharif just ran out of space on the far side, and Swinton were across smartly to drag him out into touch. So they survive that moment of pressure, but again, coming up with the ball in front of their own posts. Approaching the last 10 minutes of the half. Swinton looking to get on with it quickly. Keighley slowing the game down. The referee happy to allow that. And that time Swinton get the penalty for ripping out as Hawkyard was driven back. White needs to make touch. He's bang centre of the field, and he does make touch safely. Real opportunity for Swinton to get the upper hand in this game again. Gallagher drives it over halfway. Lloyd taking a leaf out of Acker's book. He's on his own. There was no support, but he did well. And Swinton are in a great position again now. Dwyer through the dummy. Gets an offload. I think it might have come off a Keighley hand, that. As Lloyd dropped on it. The referee decided it didn't come off a Keighley hand. Gallagher throws the dummy and straightens up. Then looks for the offload, but can't be made. Lloyd. Atkin. Barlow. Driving in the tackle. Swinton 10 from the post on the 5th. They're going to go through hands again. To the far side. White. Short ball to Thornley, who's wrapped up by 4 Keighley tacklers. And that's the handover, but crucially, in front of the Keighley post this time. Swinton can't afford to give away a cheap penalty here. The easy escape for Keighley, who've made good ground on the first 3 tackles there. I wonder if they're going to attempt the 40-20 as well. It's a good pitch for it. Mike Butt being told to drop back by Richie Hawkyard. Robinson's just dropped back a little as Tarui falls on his backside. Rodri Lloyd in the way slightly. Barlow sticks the shoulder in but can't complete the tackle. Recovers. And Keighley on the front foot. Swinton a little bit sluggish in the ruck area as Dwyer makes a good tackle, and that's the 5th. Handforth. Tester for Richie Hawkyard under pressure, but the captain, safe as houses, brings it away nicely as well. Good work that from the captain. Robinson, this is where Swinton can be dangerous. The pace in the backs. Hawkyard. Littler steps away, great sidestep. And he's upright in the tackle with Tarui. And Tarui throws an arm at that. Stuart Littler didn't like it. I said he was a fiery character when he came on. I think Swinton can get at him. Perhaps look to wind him up a little bit. Gallagher. Looking to play the ball quickly again. The referee happy for Keighley to slow it down. Atkin lines up the 1-pointer. It's not a good kick, but fortunately for Swinton, it comes off the post and stays in field. They were a little slow to react, actually, the Lions. But it was a fortunate bounce from after the drop goal attempt wasn't the best. But a post keeping it in play and allowing Swinton a shot at dislodging the ball early in the tackle count. Barlow getting through some work since coming on. That time the line a bit slower up, and Lloyd completes the tackle. Approaching the last 5 minutes of the half, it's the, well, I don't think it's quite a 40-20 attempt. It's an early kick, which Hawkyard has to run back and retrieve, and again he sets off one-handed. He's well met there. It's good chase that from the Cougars, but come in off his wing, ended up on the far side. Gallagher saying something to the referee, but Keighley are penalised for offside, and Swinton will be able to kick up over halfway here, or just about over halfway, as the fans behind the post get behind them again. Thornley running into Cherryholme. Lloyd, Atkin to Lloyd, who's through. He's got support from Dwyer, but Lloyd doesn't need it. Rodri Lloyd's going to score, and he grounds the ball behind the post, and Rodri Lloyd is causing chaos for the Keighley defence. Lloyd and Lever too hot to handle this afternoon, and Swinton regain the lead just before the break. He's having a terrific match, Lloyd, and the Lions fans celebrate. Determination on his face, Lloyd. He did have support, but he was never going to pass that one. He wanted it himself. And what a fantastic match we've got on our hands. Topsy-turvy stuff. And it'll be Atkin who looks to add the extras from in front of the post. Let's hope it's a better attempt than his drop goal. And over it goes. So Swinton lead by 22 points to 16. We've got 3.5 minutes left on the clock in this first half. The next score, you feel, could be absolutely crucial. Swinton could get another before the break. They'll go into half-time feeling very confident. You've got to say, Keighley have probably had the better of the territory. All the tries coming from close range. Swinton punching holes from deep through Lever and Lloyd. As Gallagher. One last hurrah for Tommy Gallagher, who wins a penalty as he looks to play it quickly. Keighley penalised again. Hand in the ruck. That's not a bad kick either. Gets the Cougars line back onto halfway, and Lloyd with a tap. Thornley up to halfway, just driven back slightly. Barlow put down on his back. Gallagher straightens up down the middle. Looks for an offload, but it can't be made. 3 Keighley men in the tackle. Again, Gallagher unhappy with something in the ruck. Dwyer this time looks for support, but there was no one on his shoulder. It was a good run that from Conor Dwyer. Atkins, Swinton looking threatening again. Hawkyard, well met. Keighley up quickly. Swinton through hands. Atkin out to butt. He's not got much space, and he's taken into touch. Just didn't have enough room there, Mike Butt. And it's the handover. But Swinton have got the ball at the right end of the field for them. We've got a minute and a half still to play in this first half. I wonder if Keighley will attempt the early kick again, like we saw them doing a couple of sets ago. Lawton well met there by Dwyer. Good tackling again, Barlow involved. March out to the far side. Sharif can't get away. Swinton needs to be careful. The referee again warning them of the offsides. Aaron Lloyd, textbook tackling technique. Straight off the school textbook, that one. Not a bad kick, actually. Again, Keighley's kicking game pretty good this afternoon. Robinson threatens the risky pass, ducks under Tarui's arm. Hawkyard gets Swinton on the front foot again. Last minute of the half. Is there a chance for Swinton to just set something up? Rothwell, we've not seen too much of him this afternoon. Picked up a knock early on. Hawkyard again, one-handed carry. Wonder if Swinton may look to set up the drop goal by driving down the middle. Rothwell straightens up. Not a bad drive. Atkins in the pocket. Atkins there if he fancies it again. Steps back in looking for his left foot. Swinton forced to go through hands, and Keighley have moved up quickly, and Littler's got support outside him with Robinson. He dives to the corner. He dives for glory, and Swinton are in again just before the break. Atkins couldn't get a kick away, but Swinton were forced to go through hands as the hooter goes to bring to an end this first half, and Littler showing all his experience. Got it out to Robinson, who's one of the best finishers in the league. He dived over on the hooter, and Swinton with a crucial try just before the break. Lions now lead by 26 points to 16 with a kick still to come. Terrific composure from Atkin. He realised he couldn't get the kick away, it wasn't on. And because of that, Swinton went through hands. Keighley just caught napping slightly on the far side. And Littler, the experienced Littler, got it out to Robinson, who crosses for his first try this afternoon. Difficult kick this, right on the touchline. Unfortunate for Atkin, it comes back off the post. He watched it all the way. But that's half time, and what a half it's been. Half time score of 26 points to 16 to the Lions. Tries from Atkin, Butt, White, Rodri Lloyd, and Sean Robinson. Scott Law, the danger man for Keighley, but when he went off after scoring 2 tries, they didn't quite look the same threat down the middle. Lynham did get a try for them, but Swinton it is. He'll finish the first half the happier side It's Swinton with a lead as we go into half time and a much needed rest. It's Swinton 26, Keighley 16. Roars from the travelling support as Swinton come out for the second half with 40 minutes to win promotion. They've got a 10-point lead at the break, a terrific first half, end-to-end stuff. Great advert for the League One. But of course we'll be hoping that next season we'll be going to Bradford, Sheffield, Leigh, as opposed to Hemel, Coventry, Gloucester. A bit of a step up in opposition, but there's still 40 minutes to go, a long way to go in this game. Keighley just keeping the Lions waiting. Keeping the cheerleaders earning the money. And here come Keighley. 40 minutes for them to salvage what has been an emotional season for the Cougars. They've had to cope with the loss of the key player and captain Danny Jones, and they fought well to finish second in the table, but when it comes down to playoff rugby, second place counts for little, and it's Swinton at the moment who have just a toe in the championship. Scott Law's come back on at the break for the visitors, or the visitors I should say, for Keighley. Both sides visitors. Law, who scored 2 tries in the first half, looked a real threat from close range. It was his departure actually which saw Swinton turn the tide in the game. And those late tries from Roger Lloyd and Sean Robinson putting Swinton on top. Gallagher, the last 40 minutes of a long and distinguished career for Tommy Gallagher. He'll love to go out on a high. Aaron Lloyd looking to win a cheap penalty behind the ruck area. Atkin on to Dwyer. Swinton's young forwards under pressure this afternoon with no Mike Morrison. The leader of the pack with a sternum injury misses out today, Thornley. This is the sort of range Swinton were successful from in the first half. Going through hands with White. Stabs a kick through towards the corner. That's not a bad effort. And the chase is good as well. Aaron Lloyd's up there and Swinton are going to force the drop out. Oh no, says a referee. Good escape from Keighley. Swinton are looking to pressure them and move up quickly, but they don't want to give away a cheap penalty for offside. That'll be the easy escape for the Cougars. Gabriel, met by a solid wall. Josh Barlow, Tommy Gallagher. Chris Atkin just asking for some more help on the far side. Law, again causing Swinton problems. Just couldn't get to grips with him in the first half. And the early kick, Chalkyard needs to be quick to get across to. Littler just stepping across, march his path slightly to give his captain a bit of protection. Offsides all along the line as Robinson attacks a broken line. Lloyd continuing at hooker. In the second half, Ackers went off. I don't know if that was a tactical change, whether keeping him fresh. But Barlow's broken through. It's a great offload. Dwyer, he's got no support with him. And he's brought down 15 from the sticks. Great burst that from Josh Barlow. And Swinton are on the front foot and they've got a penalty as well. Interference to play the ball. And they're going to kick for goal for Shaw now. Surely they're going to kick for goal. All the players are pointing for it. They're just asking, and yeah, Atkin will have the chance to put Swinton 12 points ahead early in the second half. No question that they weren't going to go for goal there. To look to keep the scoreboard pressure ticking over. Atkin with a penalty. How big a moment could this be in the season? Left footed, just to the left of the posts. Atkins steps up and he strokes it over, and Swinton's lead's extended to 12 points. Swinton 28, Keighley 16. All came on the back of that terrific burst down the middle from Josh Barlow. Broke the tackle, he found support from Dwyer, who ran out of support in the end. But when he was hauled down, Keighley penalised for interfering at the ruck, not for the first time this afternoon. And Swinton come up with a penalty. White. Barlow runs into Law and bounces off Law, who goes back for a bit of seconds. Hawkyard, proud to lead his team out in finals. Gallagher with a step inside, driving in the tackle, looking for an offload as well, but the ball's been, well, I thought it might have been ripped out there. Lloyd should have passed it there, Lloyd, I think. Dwyer. Swinton in control at the start of the second half. Lloyd back to Atkin. Sends the high kick, hanging in the air. He's after it himself, Atkin. It's well fielded by Gabriel, who sets off at pace. He's one of the quickest wingers in League One. At one point this season, he scored in 10 consecutive games, which is no mean feat. But he's yet to get on the score sheet this afternoon. It's Swinton who lead by 12 points. Lloyd again with his textbook tackling technique. Route one stuff from Keighley, just straight down the middle as Feather finds Law. That combination dangerous, and Dwyer was there to intercept. And the danger's averted. Law looking for the offload. Dwyer was alert to it, and Robinson ducks under a tackle. So good position to start the set, this for Swinton. Hawkyard at the play the ball, looks to dart into space. Gets his team 10 metres closer to the post. Lloyd. Barlow fancies another burst. He's on his own though, there's no support. Even if he can get a hand free for an offload, there was no one with him. Swinton needs to be running in 2s and 3s. White just delays the pass for Littler, who fancied he could get through. That's the 5th. Atkins got his hand up, but they go into the near side. Littler stabs a kick through. Robinson's putting pressure on it, and it's knocked on in front of the line. And Swinton will have the put in at the scrum. Error from the fullback, Guzdek. And the Swinton fans behind the post just sensing that this could be the moment. Guzdek with the error at a crucial moment. Andy Thornley's down injured on halfway, receiving some treatment. Not looking good for the utility player. Offers options in the backs and the forwards. He seems to be dazed at the moment. The referee just allowing Swinton to delay the scrum while Thornley gets some treatment. Atkin just going over for a word with the coaching staff. John Duffy mentoring Chris Atkin as he talks him through the semi-final. It looks as though Thornley's afternoon could be coming to a premature end, and that'll be a big blow for the Lions. Well, he's jogging off, so maybe not quite as serious as first feared, and it looks as though it might be a blood interchange actually. Rob Lever's holding the green sign there, so hopefully just something that can be stitched up as Lever comes back onto the field. They'll go in at loose forward. Back underway, Swinton 10 from the line. Rothwell just grabbed by Lawton. Rodri Lloyd cutting back inside, can find no way through. Atkin, Lever, he's caused so many problems for Keighley this afternoon, but that time they were alert to it. Back on their own line, the Cougars. This is a good opportunity, this, for the Lions. Atkin, Barlow wanted it, but he goes to White. The White's pass is behind Littler, who has to check back inside and does well to recover the ground. Looking for a quick play the ball, and he's lost it. A player of Stuart Littler's experience should be doing better from there. I think he was trying to win a penalty, and in doing so he's lost the ball, and Keighley come up with it with the scrum. Poor error that from Littler, just looking to try and win a penalty, but the ball ran free. And Keighley, with the pace in their backs, could be dangerous from this range. We've not seen the wingers opening up yet. Been fairly predictable stuff from the Cougars, you've got to say. They've got a powerful pack, but just a little bit too reliant on it. Feather with the offload. Again, another offload, and not much gained from them. Swinton closing off. Barlow and Lloyd in strongly. Discipline crucial in this middle period. That's the fifth. Keighley unable to get out of their own half. So good set again from the Lions, looking to put pressure on the kick. Barlow, but he's easily sidestepped. The kick's drilled against the back of Lloyd and then picked up from, well, it's offside given against Swinton. Fortunate bounce from the kick. Swinton penalised as they look to put pressure on the kick, and Keighley have the penalty and a chance for them to threaten the Swinton line for the first time in his second half. White just retrieves the ball. Feather with the tap. It's Law on a hat-trick. Law, and he's driving towards that Swinton line. Swinton's defence from close range was poor in the first half. It needs to be better now. 10 from the line as Dwyer looks to complete the tackle. Keighley so good from this range. Lawton. Swinton up smartly though to shut his options down. Again, Keighley looking to burst through the middle, not opening up the field. Feather spins it out to Handforth. Long passing, they're looking for the wing march. Short ball, it's a missed tackle, and Keighley are over. Sliding defence was poor from the Lions, and Keighley are right back in the game. Disappointing again from close range. Swinton's short range defence hasn't been good this afternoon. It was a missed tackle in the middle. I think it may have been Littler, and White couldn't hang on. And Keighley reduced the deficit as Littler receives some treatment on the back of that penalty. Just wait for confirmation of the scorer. Might have been Pursglove. I think Pursglove it was who finished it off. The second rower. Keighley fans behind the goal are unhappy with Stuart Littler, but he's down injured. Lawton with the kick. He missed one earlier from a not dissimilar position. He needs to get this one to bring Keighley within one score of the Lions. Big moment in the game. Lawton steps up, and it's a good kick. Keighley 22, Swinton 28. Everything to play for. Swinton shouldn't be too downhearted from that. They had a good start to his second half. Just the Atkin penalty to show for it though, and then when they came under pressure, the Lions defence again letting them down. They've prided themselves on defence all season. Keighley players unhappy with Stuart Littler receiving it. I think he's going to get a change of boots actually. Swinton just need to keep the energy levels up. Littler happy with the boots he's got now, and he trots back into position, ready for Atkin to get us back underway. So Atkin with a restart. It's deep, and White fields it, pops it off to Law, who stutters in his run and meets Jordan James, who's back on the field. Austin and James combining with the assistance of Aaron Lloyd. Big moments in the game. Feather just looking to break away. Still no sign of Aaron Ackers since the break. Andy Ackers since the break. Just wonder if he picked up a knock. Keighley trying to referee the game. Feather to Law. Purse glove, the try scorer, brought down. Well met, that's the 5th. Swinton can't afford to give away anything silly. They've got to keep the discipline. Handforth hangs one, which Hawkyard's under, and it's safe as houses. And Hawkyard manages to evade the first tackle and the second. Terrific full-back play from the captain. But Robinson can't get away from the play the ball. Lawton was alert to that one, as Ackers does come back on. Ackers into position at the play the ball. One-handed pick-up behind the ruck area, bursting through. He's broken a couple. Law went a little bit high there. It's a good offload. Hawkyard can't get the ball away. He's looking for the quick play the ball. Swinton on the front foot. The Keighley line all over the place. Swinton have got to keep the composure and not spill the ball. That's the 5th. Are they going to set up a job goal? There's a man down on halfway. And the referee happy for play to just be paused. It was a good opportunity that for the Lions. They're on the 5th. I just wonder if they're going to set up the drop goal and make it a 2-point game. There's a Keighley man down on halfway receiving treatment. He went down as Ackers burst through a couple of tackles. Immediate impact off the interchange for Andy Ackers. And Swinton have chance to set the line here for this 5th tackle. And I think if it was up to me, I'd be setting up the drop goal. And there was a long way to go in this game, but scoreboard pressure. Just a slight pause while the Keighley man receives treatment. I think it's Lynham who's going to limp back into position. Lynham scored in the first half. But it's Swinton with a play the ball on the 5th tackle. Be an interesting one, this. Ackers, they're going through hands. Atkins to Rodri Lloyd, looking to get the ball away. He's over the line as he grounded it. Swinton players are celebrating. The referee's having a look. But it's no try, held up over the line. I thought for a second Swinton had got there. We've got no video referee. And is that going to be a turning point in the game? Crucial tackle from the Keighley players as Lloyd looked to go over. 1 or 2 boos from the Lions fans behind the post. They had a good view of that one. There were 1 or 2 Swinton players celebrating. They felt confident that Lloyd had managed to ground the ball, but it's Keighley now who are looking to reply. Purse glove straight into the shoulder of Dwyer. Feather. Good tackling from Austin. They need to bring him down. That's a good offload. And Swinton had to be smart to get across there. Good offload from Feather. And the Lions line not quite as neat as it was earlier in the game. Feather again with the offload. Handforth. Keighley happy to keep the ball alive on the 5th. Feather into position. Handforth. Dabs a kick through. It's not the most threatening of kicks, and Hawkyard returns it strongly. Robinson, the back's just looking to relieve some of the pressure on the forwards, but not making too much ground. The Keighley defence solid at the moment. Littler looks for an offload. He's still looking for an offload, but no one was available. Law manages to wrap him up. James straightens up, and he's held, and that's the 5th tackle. James would have played a ball. Atkin on the 5th. Swinton going through hands. Rodri Lloyd throws a dummy, and then he's wrapped up. I don't think he's going to be able to get the ball away before he's taken out into touch. Well, that's the handover. The referee shouting held. I don't think Swinton will be too happy with that. They could have turned the ball over 20 metres further up the field there. As it is, Keighley, 30 from their own posts, have an opportunity to get into a decent position to kick for the corner and put Swinton back under pressure. Feather and Law, the combination again, but this time Law's well met. Sharif, Littler wraps up. Feather, Handforth, Keighley going through hands. March steps inside and runs into Austin, and Swinton swarming the ruck to prevent an offload. It's a high kick crossfield for Handforth. This is a test of Robinson's ability, and Robinson takes it superbly under pressure. Littler offering some protection there, but Robinson, very safe pair of hands under the high ball, under pressure. Keighley line up quickly. How Swinton would love a cheap penalty for offside here. The referee again just warning the Cougars to stay level with him. But Keighley up quickly, having far more success. Ackers, just a slight fumble, and the ball's gone loose, but it's a penalty to the Lions for ripping out. That's a cheap one. It's a long way out if they're going to attempt to go for goal from there. One or two players, I think, were asking the question of the coaching staff, but kicking into touch through White. Can Swinton get some breathing space? Austin. 6 points the difference. Still 23 minutes left in this game. Lever straightens up, and the ball's gone down, and it's a knock on this time. Relief for the Cougars, and Swinton have allowed a good opportunity to slip there. First error we've seen in the game from Rob Lever. And Keighley survive. So Feather out the back of the scrum. Gabriel well met. Sharif looking to go the long way round. Robinson just feels his collar, drags him to the ground. White cutting inside, one of the league's top try scorers. Paul White, he's not been allowed any space this afternoon. Lindsay looking for the quick play, the ball. Feather finds White, who spins out of one tackle before being brought down by his namesake. Kick down the middle's not great. Hawkyard takes it on the full and has a little bit of space to run into, but he's gone down heavily in the tackle. Looking for a quick play, the ball. Hawkyard. Robinson. 4 Keighley men in the tackle. Does it open up a little space out wide for Swinton as Rothwell tries again to go down the middle. Swinton looking very narrow. Driving it down the middle, this time with Butt, who runs into Law. He was looking to hand off Law. There's a bit of a size difference. White. Dwyer. Just can't quite get away. That's the 5th. Swinton again going through hands. Ackers throws the ball away in the back of the tackle, and that'll be a handover. Bit of a nothing play that from the Lions. Again, turning over possession high up the field, which is good, but not making much of the opportunity. We saw it in the cup final against Crusaders. Swinton had so much possession in the first half and they never made it pay, and in the end it cost them the game. Just hope that we're not going to see a repeat of that this afternoon, because this Keighley side aren't going to give up in the last 20 minutes of the season. Feather. 1 or 2 tired tackles now. Greg Stebbins won Club Man of the Year for Swinton for his work with the strength and conditioning of the side. They have been one of the fittest teams in the division. In the second half of the season, certainly when others have struggled, Swinton have come strong. But Hamforth dribbles one through. He's gone down, Hamforth. Nothing wrong with the hand that was on him, says the referee, as Butt backs into March. The March brothers looking for one last hurrah from the playing career as Robinson runs into Law, the bearded Law. One of the best prop forwards in this division, I'd say. Been impressed with him every time we've seen Keighley. Is there one big moment of magic from someone in a Swinton shirt? Hawkyard looking for a quick play the ball. Again, Keighley slowing the game down. James bursts through the middle, almost gets away on the 5th. Ackers. Atkin dribbles a kick through. There's pressure on the fullback who's knocked on, and Swinton come up with a possession, and this could be the opportunity Swinton need. White tries to go himself. He runs into Law. Just a yard short. Littler's got his hands up on the near side. Ackers, short ball to... Well, there's chairs behind the post. I don't think it's a try. I think it's Austin was trying to get over there. Held up over the line. Tense moments. The Lions fans behind the post roaring the team on. Atkin. Not the best of passes, and Rothwell can't make anything of it. Atkin again taking the ball above his head. Lever straightens up. They've got to make it count, Swinton. Terrific pressure on the Keighley line, who are defending well. Ackers with a dummy. Tries to step inside, can't get over. That's the 5th. White's got his hand up. I think, is he lining up the dropper? White for the 1-pointer. No, dribbles a kick through. Dwyer's after it, but he can't get there. He came off a Keighley man though, and it'll be a drop out beneath the post. Good pressure this from the Lions. Well judged kick from White. But Keighley's defence, all credit to them, holding strong. It's been a terrific defensive effort from the Cougars. The Lions fans in good voice. Hawkyard. Not going to take a backward step now, Richie Hawkyard. 20 minutes from promotion. Rothwell coming inside. Good drive from Chris Rothwell. Ackers at the play the ball. Jordan James straightens up down the middle. Swinton in range, 10 from the posts. Atkin looks to go inside to Austin. Just short again. It's a phenomenal defensive effort this from Keighley. James so close to the line, he gets the ball away, and Swinton could be over. They're over the line, but have they got the ball down? Held up again, and that's the 5th. Awesome defence this from Keighley. Swinton forced to retreat back to 10. Atkin, the pass to him's not the best. He lines up the drop goal. He's got his hand up, he's celebrating, and the referee gives it. Swinton make it a 2-point game. All that pressure on the line, it's only come to 1 point. But 1 point's all it needs, as we've seen last week in a semi-final. Swinton now lead by 29 points to 22. Just keeping the scoreboard pressure on the Cougars, who defended magnificently. And there's an error. Ben White with a knock-on from the kick-off. And Keighley are in position to get Swinton under pressure. The scoreboard here actually is incorrect. They've given us 2 points for that drop goal. We'll take it, but I don't think the match officials will approve. Just a slight delay as Stuart Littler, I think, needs a bit more treatment. Well, there's a Swinton player down behind the scrum. I can't see who it is. Richie Hawkyard. Real test of a Swinton resolve. Keighley have scored on so many occasions when they've had the ball in this range. March wrestling, looking for a free arm. He gets it out to Feather, but Swinton react well through Atkin. Look to him forward, that to Cherryholm, driving towards the line. Hanforth straightens up and tries to go himself. Well met, good tackling that from Jordan James. Feather, the short ball. Keighley just stopping, everyone having a look at each other. Swinton survive again. Feather to the left this time. Hanforth swings it out wide. The pass isn't the best. It takes a bounce before Sharif cuts back inside. Looks for a gap. Good tackling again from Jordan James. On the fifth, dribbled kick through. Hawkyard's there. Hawkyard recovers it. And he's taken out into touch. And Swinton under pressure again. Hawkyard managed to escape the in-goal area. In hindsight, maybe it'd have been better taking the drop out and kicking up towards halfway. He backed himself to stay in field, but you've got to say that's an error of judgment from the captain. If it had been tackled in the in-goal area, at least you've got a kick. Feather goes himself out the back of the scrum, but he's well met. Cherryholm, 2 tackles down. Feather just delaying the pass and slipping. Someone needs to drop on him, and they do. 3 tackles survived for the Lions. Feather unhappy with his halfbacks there. Hanforth, purse glove. He's already scored 1 from this range, but he's brought down. The tension rising. Last 15, White. Well met by Robinson, that's the 5th. Swinton have defended well so far in this set. Are we going to see the kick along the line? Hanforth has his hands on it. He stabs one through, which falls to Rodri Lloyd kindly. And Swinton can breathe a sigh of relief. Keighley will be up quickly on every tackle here. Swinton have got to play sensibly. They need to get away from the ruck area. They're being driven back there. Isaac is the man to do it. Austin, he's had a good game this afternoon, Ben Austin. Denied twice at close range by determined Keighley defence. And it's a good set for the Cougars. Swinton really struggling to make headway up the middle. Littler, and that's the 5th. And you've got to say, terrific defensive effort from Keighley in the second half. Atkin kicks from inside his own 40. It's a spiralling kick which Gabriel takes. Robinson's up well. And this time at least Swinton aren't defending on their own line. Keighley, 1 or 2 players a bit slow to get back there. David March. Hanforth. Sharif. He's got a dangerous step, but grabbed by Ben White. Cherryholm. The referee again just warning the Lions. They've got to stay on side. Hanforth dummies and plays it off to March, who always looking for the offload. Upright in the tackle, that's the 5th. Good play the ball from March. Feather sets off. Lever looking tired, but does enough to recover and complete the tackle. Rodri Lloyd's got his hands on his head. Feather's slamming the ball down in frustration. I don't think James Feather's happy with the halfbacks for Keighley. There's been a couple of times he's had the ball, and after he's been tackled, he's had a look. Robinson with it. Rothwell with a terrific break. He's gone down awkwardly. March just asking a question of the referee. Sharif with an arm round the neck there, and the touch judge is on. Swinton have got a penalty here. It was Sharif who had his arm round the neck of Robinson. The touch judge had a good view of that, and I'm sure this will be a penalty to Swinton at the very least. Just a word of calm down for Ricky Sharif as Atkin looks to get Swinton moving up the field with the penalty kick. Littler goes to retrieve it from the ball boy. Dwyer it is with a tap. Keighley's defence in this second half has been outstanding. Swinton have pressed and pressed, but they've not managed to get a try that could kill off the Cougars. 12 minutes on the clock. Ackers in position at the play the ball. James just slow to his feet and then slumping to his knees. Atkin, that's not a good pass. And Butt has to retrieve it. He'll do well to stay in field, and he does, but ground is lost there, crucially for Swinton. Just a loss of composure there. Jordan James being helped back towards his own team, limping. That's the fifth. Swinton need a good play on the fifth tackle. Atkin dribbles it towards the corner, where it's fielded by Gabriel. One or two tired looking bodies as we approach the last 10 minutes of the season. The referee stopping the clock for a head injury. Some of the Lions players looking absolutely out on their feet. All that work in pre-season, the army camp, everything they've done all year, the hard training sessions, the gym sessions at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. This is what it's for. Jordan James receiving treatment again. You've got to question whether he's going to be able to complete the game. Josh Barlow's ready on the far side. I think Barlow's going to be replacing James, and that could be the last we see of Jordan James in a Swinton shirt, or in a rugby league shirt for that matter. James retiring after this afternoon's game to concentrate on coaching. He's not keen to go off. He wants to stay on, being the warrior that he is. So Barlow cuts a frustrated figure on the sideline. He's up and down like a jack in a box, Barlow, desperate to get onto the field, but meantime Keighley are moving nicely now. Feather. Sharif looking to create something on the near side. Feather comes across into position. March with a high hanging kick, a test of Hawkyard, who's under pressure and collides with his own man. March gathers the kick and steps around, and March goes over, and Keighley have scored from nothing. The experience of Paul March in his final appearance for Keighley, creating the try. Two Swinton players colliding as they look to field the kick. Rodri Lloyd's unhappy with something that went on, but the upshot of all that is that Keighley have a kick at goal to give us a 1 point match. I said the Swinton players were just starting to look a little tired, and Lawton strokes it over. And for all the pressure that Swinton have had on the Keighley line in the second half, it's Keighley who are looking the stronger. They've defended absolutely magnificently, and with less than 10 minutes on the clock, Keighley will fancy the chances now of getting something from this game. It's a 1 point game. Jordan James hasn't gone off. He refusing to go off. But decisions need to be made with the head and not with the heart. I think it was James and Hawkyard who actually collided as they looked to field the high hanging kick from March in the sunshine. White safely takes the restart. Cherry Home brought down. Well, Swinton's experience from last week play a role here. They played in such a tight game. Feather causing problems. That's a good tackle from Austin. Lever with the tackle. Swinton have got to be careful. They can't afford to give away a penalty. Feather causing chaos behind the ruck area. That's the 5th. And Keighley confident now. Stab the kick through, which Butfield's. That's not a bad return from Mike Butt. How Swinton would love a cheap penalty now. The Keighley fans finding the voice as Robinson ducks under 2 or 3 lazy tackles. He has a look at the referee. He's looking to play the ball quickly. Hawkyard, whose error from the kick set up the chance for Keighley. Ackers, Barlow, who is on now. It's as though Robinson may have a touch of cramp. Barlow, he's got Ackers, that's a good run from the hooker. On the 5th, Gallagher's in it. Acting half. Atkin chips one through. Looks to go after it himself, but Gabriel's there. And that's assured play from the young winger. Real test of fitness now for both sides. It's been a long, hard season. Swinton, of course, playing Golden Point extra time last week. You wonder how much that'll have taken out of them. Anybody's game. 7.5 minutes still to play. We're not quite in Golden Point territory, but close to it, you feel. If Swinton can get the next try and make it a 2-score game again, as March goes down awkwardly under pressure from Austin. Barlow trying to put pressure on the kicker. Hawkyard's looking to get across there, and it's bobbled awkwardly. Hawkyard has to get away from Gabriel, and it's a good chase from the Cougars, who are looking strong. Hawkyard seems to have picked up a knock. That's good work from Robinson. Gallagher looking for an offload, but this isn't the time or place for offloads. Barlow. Strong running from Josh Barlow. Swinton supporters getting behind the team. John Duffy said it all season. The support of the Lions fans absolutely crucial in lifting the boys. That's the 5th. Swinton unable to get out of their own half. Ackers, is he aware that it's the 5th? He's going through hands. He needs to get the ball away. He does to White, who hangs a high kick to put the young Gabriel under pressure. But was there to challenge him. But Gabriel does well. He's had a good game this afternoon, Gabriel. Defensively has been very good. And now it's Keighley's turn to try and punch holes down the middle. Swinton just starting to tire, you feel. They've led for so long in this game. Bit of a messy play the ball. Play on, says the referee. Swinton can't afford to give away a penalty. The referee's warning them about the offsides. Feather to Law. The deadly duo for Keighley. That's the 5th. I wonder, are they going to test the wingers again with a high kick? It's crossfield. Robinson's there. Well, he's out on the full, so that's a bad mistake actually from Keighley, whose kicking game up to this point has been exemplary. And Swinton return a football on the 30-metre line. Gallagher is ready to play it, but he hasn't got a football to play with. The Swinton players, so many of them are carrying knocks. They're going through the pain barrier this afternoon as we approach the final 5 minutes of the season. Gallagher with a play the ball. Barlow sticking his hand up, saying, "I'll run it up." Robinson's gone across. Barlow's looking for a penalty, which Keighley are saying he knocked on as he tried to win a penalty there. Not the smartest move. Dwyer, there's no one outside him. Experience absolutely vital as Barlow looks to get away. Brought down 40 from the post on the 4th. Austin. Ackers to Atkin. Atkins caught in possession. He thought about the inside ball, and Swinton aren't making the right choices now. John Duffy apoplectic on the far side. As Law's driven back by Gallagher, but he gets the offload to Feather. It's all about making the right decisions, and Swinton haven't made them in the second half. Not putting Keighley under enough pressure in the final 20. Again, Keighley driving in the tackle, up over halfway. Law runs into Ackers. On the 4th. Look to him forward from Feather. The referee's happy with it. And Keighley are moving, and Swinton sliding defence looks tired. Rothwell. Gabriel cutting inside. Austin's looking tired. Gabriel's rapid, and the ball's gone forward. It's gone to ground, and Swinton survive. And Hogyard with a risky offload in front of his own posts. Do not be offloading the ball there. Swinton survive, and Robinson comes away through the attempted ball steal. There was 2 men in the initial tackle. It's all about keeping your heads now, lads. 3 minutes on the clock. 5 drives and a kick for the corner. Robinson, Hawkyard. I'm losing my head as well now. Come on, drive it up the middle and kick for the corner. Gallagher, he's the man to drive it up. Looks for an offload. Ackers threatens a risky ball. Ackers is through. Almost gets away. He's looking for a quick play the ball to test this Keighley defence. Lloyd kicks towards the corner, but it's not a good kick. The ball stays in field. And there's a ball steal 1-on-1, but no. There was 2 men in the tackle, says the referee. And Swinton penalised unnecessarily for ripping out. We got 2.5 minutes on the clock. And Keighley will have a penalty kick to try and get as close to this Swinton line as they can. Oh, and it's a good kick as well, up towards halfway. 2 minutes 24. Swinton looking tired. The wrong choices were made there again, I'm afraid, in the final third. The line a little bit slow up, but still fighting. Feather to Law, that's the combination that they're looking to drive it down the middle. I wonder if Keighley are going to think about the drop goal. Step inside from Hamforth, he looks to get the ball away, but he's wrapped up by Ackers. Feather, space around the ruck, he's grabbed by Austin, he looks at the referee. That's the 5th. This is a crucial moment in the game. A Keighley going for the dropper, it's charged down. Superb charge down by Josh Barlow. Well, that's 5 more tackles, and the Swinton line is all over the place. Keighley looking to move it to the far side with March. Swinton exhausted. Last couple of minutes of the game, they've got to move up off the line. They're going to have to slide across to this near side. If Keighley move it, they're in. If Keighley move it, they're in. Littler's up off the line. Hamforth steps inside and Barlow's there to grab him. They've got to move up. They've got to move across. Keighley keeping the ball alive. Purslove, look to him forward to Sharif, who steps inside. Desperate stuff this from Swinton into the final minute. Law, he scored a couple already and he's driving towards the post. That's the 5th. This is it. They're going to have to go for the drop goal, you feel. Back it goes to Hamforth, who steps and stumbles. Grab him, Josh! Grab him! Swinton have got to keep their heads. The ball's still not dead. Robinson, and he's into touch, and Swinton are going to be promoted. The handover with 30 seconds left. Stick it up, your jumper. Stick it up, your jumper, and Swinton are going to Bradford next year. Josh Barlow, absolutely heroic there. Hamforth panicked and lost his footing. And it's got to be one-man rugby from Swinton. There's 24 seconds on the clock. Keighley have got to try and dislodge it. Gallagher jogging it up into Law. He tries to get the one-on-one steal. Dwyer, 10 seconds to play. Keighley need the one-on-one steal. Robinson. Tackled by Purseglove. The Swinton fans are counting it down. Run it into touch. Hawkyard. The clock's running down. Hawkyard's in touch. The game's over. And Swinton are promoted to the first division, to the championship. The players celebrate. What an absolutely heroic effort it's been. They survived the 2 late sets on their own line. Josh Barlow charging down the drop goal attempt. And you can see what it means to the players. They've put in so much work over the last 12 months. Commiserations to Keighley. It's been a difficult year for them on and off the field. And they fought so hard in the second half. Defensively, Keighley absolutely immense in the second half. But it's Swinton who go up against all the odds. They came from way down the table at the end of the season. They won 10 of the last 11 games to get into the playoffs, and they've won a thriller. It's finished Swinton 29, Keighley 28. And Swinton, they don't do things the easy way, do they? It went for the golden point last week, and this week it's another 1-pointer. There can't ever have been 2 better playoff games. To see a side go up Mike Morrison celebrating with his teammates. He missed out this afternoon because of the injury. But his young forwards in the pack, Austin in particular, I thought had a great game. Took it to the Keighley line. John Duffy, the young coach in his first full season at the club. He's done so much on and off the field. And he'll be celebrating tonight. I'm losing my voice in the excitement again. Fantastic scenes in Widnes. As the Swinton players go over and take the acclaim of a travelling support, they've followed them up and down the country. The country, when you're in League One, is a bigger country than it is in the Championship. Going down to Gloucester and Hemel and playing Oxford. But they won't have to make them trips next year. Swinton will be going to Odsal to play Bradford. They'll be going to Sheffield. They'll be going to Leigh. Great scenes behind the post. The Swinton fans celebrating, and it'll be a good night in Swinton tonight. The pubs will be full. Should also make mention, Tommy Gallagher and Jordan James bring down the curtain on their careers. What fantastic careers they've had, and what a way to go out at the top. Finishing with a promotion playoff win. And Gallagher and Littler over there applauding the fans, 2 experienced players. They played in finals before. And they'll remember this day as long as they live. Should also mention Greg Stebbins, Clubman of the Year, strength and conditioning coach. You've got to say so much of these last 2 weeks are down to his work. The team has come strong, stayed fit at the crucial moments, and it's Swinton who go up. The final score in Widnes, Swinton 29, Keighley 28. The Lions are promoted. Well, John, 2 weeks and 2 very tense finishes. You must be relieved it's all over.
Yeah, my heart's still pounding, mate, but big congratulations to the boys. They dug deep there at the end, and everything we asked for, they came up with, and we got our just deserves really for an outstanding season.
You went into the game missing the leader of the pack, Mike Morrison. Young forwards stood up and be counted today, didn't they?
They did, yeah. I think he just said in the press there, I got a bit upset yesterday when Mike came out and said he couldn't play. He's been a massive leader for us, and he's a big part of this club. So that one was for him, and we said that as a group, that was for Mike, that win today. But your likes of Conor Dwyer and Benny Austin were absolutely outstanding out there, putting the bodies on the line.
And the experienced players as well, Richie Yorkyard. We've seen the last performance from Tommy Gallagher and Jordan James as well. I think Jordan James didn't want to come off at the end. He was carrying a knock.
Obviously, JJ's retiring, so he didn't want to end up with a knock and coming off and not offering anything. But we've got to be smart there and get Josh on. So, yeah, some massive performances there. I thought Chris Atkin was good as well, like last week. So, yeah, big club effort, and John Roddy and the board are just deserves for all the input they've had on this year.
Well, Chris, another week, another 1-pointer. You've got to stop doing this to us.
It's not intentional, I'm afraid, but if that's, we practice them in the training in the week, and me and Ben and Hackers, and we have a little chat between ourselves, and if it's there to be done, one of us will step up and have a go, so it's there in the back. But ideally we'd like to be a couple more points in front than just one.
You had to dig deep at the end there. How important has the fitness been for the lads this season?
Oh, it's been such a long season, and John's worked really well with the conditioner, Greg, to keep us all in good fitness, and we're all feeling fresh this week. We had a good training week, but we were fresh, and I think we just had to dig in at the end. We knew we were going to be, everyone was knackered, they were going to be knackered, but it was about our fitness in the end did tell in the end, I think.
Team spirit, you can see it afterwards with the celebrations, absolutely fantastic. John Duffy said he wants to keep the squad together. You'll be happy to hear those words, won't you?
Yeah, I think every 1 to 20 odd or however many it is in the squad have all played the part this season, and there's one lad who's missed out this week from the semi-final last week, Mike Morrison, who's John said about he's looked after us the whole season, and he has done something for every single one of us. And we, at the end that was the call. Let's do it for Mike and let's dig in, because he would have done it for us, and he's done it all season.
Well, Jordan, what a way to finish your career.
Yeah, I would have liked to have finished it a bit easier than that, but I'm just so proud of the boys, and they stuck in there, and we deserve that. I thought we've been successful all year, and it would have been a real shame if we'd lost today, and I'm just so grateful that the lads dug in there that last 5 minutes. I've never seen anything like that before. It was unreal. You're
right, the team did dig in, yourself included. You looked as though you were going to be taken off at one point, but you didn't want to go off and miss the end, did you?
No, it's my last ever game, so you just got to try and push yourself through that pain barrier, and I was gutted. I didn't want to come off, but I knew that I had to, because for the good of the team, I was absolutely out of it. So I'm just so chuffed for the boys.
And how much did last week's win and the nature of it play a part at the end today? Another tight game.
I think it really helped us, put us in good stead. This year we've been to a final already, and we didn't come away with it because we just didn't perform. So last week was a big game, and we knew we had to perform, and it was good to get that win, and then to see that out today, I think it's just all built up towards it, and I'm so pleased for the fans. They've stuck through us a whole year, and now they get to see us playing Championship next year.
And you're hanging up your playing boots. What's the next move for your career?
Yeah, I'm done now. I'm too old. Let all the young kids come through. I'm continue coaching at Wigan and trying to nurture the talent there, and just trying to stay in the game as much as I can. And it's going to be a shock, I think, not putting the boots on anymore, but so I'll find something to do.
Can you put a word in and get us Rob Lever again next year, please?
I'll try. He was awesome today, weren't he? I thought him, Rodri Lloyd, were the difference, and Benny Austin when he hung in at the end, Chris Atkin, everyone played their part, and it was a real tough physical game, and I'm just so chuffed for Swinton.
Well done this afternoon, lads. You must have all been pretty tired towards the end. It looked like we were hanging on there.
You could say that, but I think you've got to give a lot of credit to our back five, including these two. I think everyone will agree with me. They was absolutely awesome. Robbo coming in when the forwards were tired. I don't know what the stats are at the minute, but great effort from our back five, and they deserve all the credit they get.
And Sean, you scored a great try in the corner when the drop goal was shut down for us. We moved it to the wing, and you dived for the corner. It's a good one for the cameras.
Yeah, should we work that one up, didn't it?
And Chris, your first season at this level, you got to step up again next year. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, this season's been a massive step up, and you know, I've loved every minute of the challenge, and I challenge myself again to do it again next year. So yeah, can't wait for next year now.
I'm killed it. Killed it.
And we're going to Bradford next year instead of Hemel. That'll be nice.
Yeah, it'll be scarier, but it'll be nice. It'll be a challenge for us and challenge me as a coach, and it'll challenge the players. And we just got to go and be smart now with who we sign and who we re-sign.
How many of the squad do you expect to keep?
Yeah, hopefully near enough all of the squad. I want to keep this group together because we're a champion group, and we've got some young lads who've gained experience this year and keep progressing their careers.
Well done this afternoon, John.
Cheers, pal.
Thank you.